In this episode, we'll see how and if artificial intelligence truly has the power to reshape project management. Hello, and welcome back to the Project Management Podcast at pm-podcast.com. This is the live stream for episode 491, and I'm Cornelius Fischner. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, for those of you who have been listening and watching here for a while, this is a video episode. So if you're seeing this recorded, or rather if you're hearing this recorded without video, look for the play video episode link in your podcast app or visit pm-podcast.com/491 to play this episode with video. So in today's discussion, we once again delve into the intersection of artificial intelligence and project management. Our focus right now is to explore the pervasive buzz around AI in the project management landscape, because the integration of AI into project management has been making waves across industries. I have absolutely no doubt you must have stumbled upon some kind of an intriguing article on LinkedIn or a post making these sometimes really wild predictions and highlighting the profound influence that AI will have on project management, right? Yeah, well, it's undeniable. AI's presence is, in fact, reshaping our professional landscape, but to what extent? What should be the role of AI in our world? Has AI impacted your daily tasks or decision-making processes in project management? And what really are the challenges? So we want to delve deep into these and more topics with Bill Dow, aiming to uncover the real implications of this technological revolution and its nuanced effects on the world of project management. Yeah, and here he is after over 100 episodes. That was the last time he was on. Hello, Bill. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud to be here, and I really appreciate diving into this topic. I love it, and thanks for having me back.
Yeah. He was actually on as a sort of leaving some chat messages with when we had Elizabeth Aharon on a little while ago. But for those of you, who don't know Bill, let me reintroduce Bill to you. Right. He has an extensive 31-year career in IT and project management, and has these incredible industry insights. From the ground up, he has built 10 PMOs across 4 different companies. He has 7 published books. I barely have one. And recently he released Project Communications 2.0, which emphasizes some brand new techniques in project communications. Ooh, this actually sounds like another interview in the future here on this book. His in-depth guides on PMO, from building to selecting the right services, make him the authority in the field, and he also leads the PMO at the University of Washington. Let's also not forget that Bill's foresight into the role of AI in project management shows his forward-thinking approach, highlighting really the immense potential of the technology in the field. If you want to know more about him, so for all the information about Bill as well as his books, please do visit dowpublishingllc.com. The link is on the website, on the screen right now, and it'll also be on the website. My first question for you, Bill, at this time, usually the same question: what can our audience expect from our conversation here today? You told me earlier on, I'm going to get into trouble. So.
Well, maybe a little trouble, but what I really do want to get, and it's a great question, because what I want to do is I want to give a balanced view. Right? You had said it, right? There's a lot of surveys, a lot of LinkedIn posts, there's a lot of stuff. And what I want to do is I want to give a balanced view of AI and project management at this time. And I can't stress enough, at this time. There's lots of hypes, there's webinars, there's articles, there's books, there's prompts, right? A lot of talk about how PMs are going away. right? The project manager job's going away, right? And so I want to give my balanced perspective for being in this industry for a long time.
Okay. To get us started, please do not forget, if you have joined us live, if you have a question, whether that's on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, use the chat box underneath the video here and send us your question, and I'll look at them, and if I find it to be interesting enough, we'll put it in. Yeah. Yes. Let's start with our first question here. AI hype. Here, I want to start with 4 statements that you sent me about AI via email. So let me read those 4 statements. They're really short. First, the AI project management topic is exploding. We are seeing LinkedIn post after LinkedIn post. Second, we are seeing survey after survey on LinkedIn. Third, we are hearing how AI is going to eliminate project managers' jobs. And lastly, people cannot stop talking about it and how it's going to save the project management world. So, Bill, in your experience here, do you really think that this rapid attention that AI is getting all over the place is it hype, or is it truly the game changer that many people make it out to be?
It's
Or am I
100.
already getting you into trouble?
You're about to. It's 100% hype. I'm just going to say it because, and I'm going to say that with a caveat. The caveat is we're moving in the right direction, but it is 100% hype. It's too early within AI and project management to say it's a game changer, right? I know people will disagree with me. There are people writing those articles and writing those books. They will disagree, but this isn't my first rodeo in this space, right? And so when you think about it over 30 years, we saw in the 90s prototyping on all IT projects. What happened to that, right? We saw Agile when it came out in 2001. No need for project managers. What happened to that? We saw Microsoft release Cortana for Power BI. Hey, Cortana, give me all of my red projects. What happened to that? So that's where I'm thinking, right? We're still very early in this process to say that it's going to be a game changer. I just don't see it yet.
Right. Yeah. And let me bring in the first comment and question that we had here on this one is on YouTube from Amir Ansari. I was just thinking about how to have AI help with project controls and planning. Can't wait to join. So yeah, he's already joined. Yes, in my opinion, Amir, we don't know. We really don't know how AI will help us with project controls and planning, simply because the developers of the tools, the companies out there that provide project management software to us, they haven't figured it out themselves yet. Right. They are in the exploration phase. They are working on getting these tools into their software. Today, they already have, maybe configurable tools that help us with these decisions. But in the future, it's going to have to be some sort of a learning mechanism based on everything, all the data that we have. But truly, they haven't figured that out yet. Right, Bill? What do you think?
100% agree. I think the scenario is that they're going in the right direction. They're heading there, but until they get there and until we start seeing our data in these tools and start playing with it on a day-to-day basis, we can't give you that answer right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let me take this into a slightly different direction, Bill. When did you first hear about artificial intelligence in project management?
Yeah, that's a good question. So late last year, early this year, I was actually interviewed by Lloyd Skinner from Greyfry.ai back in the February timeframe. He and I did a one-on-one, and then I actually got added to a panel, and we did a larger panel. So I love this topic. So it's been really most of this year that I've been diving into it, reading every article, really understanding, because I want to be a leader in this space, but I want to be a balanced leader in this space.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Let me move on to our next topic here. Obviously, it's still the same topic, because I decided, you know what, the best person to tell us whether or not it will replace project managers is the artificial intelligence itself. So I went ahead and I asked ChatGPT, how well do you personally feel equipped to help project managers in managing their projects? So that's the question I asked ChatGPT, and this is the answer I got back. While I am designed to provide a wealth of information, insights, problem-solving capabilities across various subjects, including project management, I, ChatGPT, don't possess the intuitive human touch essential for nuanced decision making in real world projects. However, I can assist with providing best practices, answering PM related queries, and offering templates or frameworks. Think of me as a supplementary tool for project managers, offering quick information and guidance, but not as a replacement for human expertise and judgment. Bill, how well is the AI assessing its own capabilities?
Actually, this is fundamentally what I'm talking about, right? This is the human element that AI just does not have. And that when we get to this balanced approach and we talk about, AI replacing project managers, they don't have the human side of it. One of the things I talk about a lot is the art and science of project management, right? I go back to that. I was on an interview the other day and someone kind of scoffed at me at that answer. And I went, wait a second, that's the fundamental of being a good project manager. You have to balance art and science. And what we're seeing is ChatGPT itself saying, I've got the science, I'm good with the science, but I don't have the art. And if we've ever seen project managers that are good one way or not good the other way, and right, it's a balance. To be good at project management, you have to have a balance. And ChatGPT is saying itself, it's not there yet.
We have a comment from somebody who disagrees with something we said earlier. rlee1185 on YouTube says, it's absolutely not too early for it to be a game changer, even if it's only for simple productivity tasks and to-do lists. It makes things a lot quicker. So I totally agree, right? Mm-hmm. This is a game changer. In the end, artificial intelligence will be a game changer in our industry. It will change the way we manage projects and how AI supports us here. But right now, I think it's too early to say where exactly this is going. And the next one is from Deepak Segal. Does that mean there are no AI tools available for project management yet? Bill, do you know of any tools that are available right now?
No, I was just recently doing that search. So Smart Sheets is incorporating it. Jira is incorporating it. Asana is incorporating it. Microsoft Project for the web, haven't heard that yet. Definitely not Microsoft Desktop yet. So we can keep going down that list. Monday.com is eventually going to get there. So we're not seeing any yet, and that I know about at this particular time. No.
Okay. At this point, I want to move back here to this and go to our next topic, because I have a quote from somebody really intelligent here. This quote is from somebody called Bill Dow. Who might that be? And this quote comes from the panel discussion that you mentioned earlier, Bill, that you attended from Lloyd Skinner. Yeah. And you said, slow down.
Yeah.
When it comes to artificial intelligence, slow down and go at it with intent. What exactly do you mean by that, Bill?
Well, I think we have to be realistic on how it's going to help our project managers, right? When we see these articles and we see these quotes, they don't go that next level down, right? And so when I say slow down and go with intent, when we start seeing real examples, we start seeing real schedules being built that have, that can be actually used, or real status reports, or, so I say slow down because I'm not seeing any article, any book, any webinar that goes to that next level. And I think that's because we just said there's no software yet to be able to help us do that. So that's what I meant in that slow down quote is let's slow down. Let's go after this. When we see the software, we're touching it, we're feeling it with real data, and then we can figure it out.
Mhm. So, what should people do then? They hear about all of these great things that artificial intelligence can do and will do, and it's going to take away your job. And what do I do now other than slowing down and realizing, okay, it's probably a lot of hype in this?
Yep.
What can I do now in order to help me?
Consume, consume, consume. Read every article, read every book. I am reading and downloading, and I'm consuming it like a crazy guy because I want to be on top of this, right? Think about it. I run a very large PMO with over 100 projects, right? And I've got about 30 project managers or so. Can you imagine if I just let them go? Go for it, right? Just release, do everything with AI. Can you imagine the challenges I would have across 100 projects? So consume, read the articles, but then ask yourself, click down. If I'm a project manager, would I really want a schedule developed by an AI tool that I would put in front of my customers? I may not have a great relationship with my customer. Am I really going to put a status report in front of them that I have not read, and really understood that that's the message I want to talk about my project?
Mhm.
So consume like crazy, be a smart, get in there and really understand what's going on. But then ask yourself, click down, give me the evidence.
Mhm. Would you use AI on your projects if you had to go external and put the data into the artificial intelligence or into a tool, something like ChatGPT?
No, not
How would you do it? What needs to happen before you can trust this?
I was on an interview on the same topic a while back, and I basically introduced the concept of this closed system. So
Mhm.
what's a closed system? We have ChatGPT for our company. Dow Publishing has ChatGPT.
I use
This
it as
company,
well, yes, but
yeah,
it's public, right?
but it's public. And so I'm saying a closed system, which means it's internal to only my system, only my projects. And you will see that across our big tech companies. There's no question, right? They're going to see these closed systems. We're nowhere near there yet. But can
Mhm.
you imagine sending top secret or private projects up to a particular company that has no formal relationship with us? That would be crazy. And one of the benefits of AI will be the crunching of the data and processing of the data and creating the patterns, which is awesome. But you're not going to send that data to a third party company.
Mhm.
I would certainly wouldn't send my 100 plus projects up there. That would be nuts.
Even if it is a closed system, how much data do you give the AI? What type of data do you give? Is there data that the AI is not supposed to see? Right? I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
on these 100 projects that you manage, there is data that is for your eyes only.
Yes.
I don't know,
But a
salaries of the employees,
yeah,
hourly rates, things like that, right?
yeah, but a closed system that would be okay. So if
Well,
it's
yeah, but it would
just
have to
in my
still
company,
make sure that
yeah,
only people authorized
yeah,
would be able to get a report. I
yeah,
mean, if anybody can sit down on your closed system and say, "Give me a report of all the salaries of all the
yeah,
project managers," go,
100%. Yeah,
right? And
we're
that
nowhere
needs
near
to
that.
be,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Or
yeah,
one good example is vendor rates. If I have vendor project managers and I have employee project
oh
managers,
yeah,
the vendors going or the employee going, really? That vendor's making 300, 500, 10,000 an hour? Yeah, that wouldn't go over very well, right?
exactly.
But
So
when we
the
talk about
security is another issue here.
yeah, when we talk about
Yeah.
the early stages, these are the business cases that we need to think out. These are the cases that we need to go, how would this really work? And frankly, you don't see those in these articles. You don't see these click downs of this type of information. If these articles and webinars and books would be more balanced and
Mm.
said, you know, these are all the possible things to do, but I want to bring the other side. We need closed systems. We need security. We need to ask a ton of business questions, which we will get to. I'm just as excited about AI and project management than anyone is. I love this topic, but I'm trying to be more realistic.
Mm. Let's also not forget that even if you have a closed system that's internal only, you have ethical considerations to think about, and you have data privacy to think about.
Yep.
Europe is much more advanced in the latter one with
Yep.
GDPR. The United States is catching up. California has the Data Protection Act and
We have HIPAA,
Consumer Data Protection Act.
right? There's
So,
HIPAA, right, from a health.
yeah,
Health
exactly. So yeah, HIPAA doesn't. I mean, I'm an IT software company. HIPAA doesn't apply
right.
to me, but I'm in Europe, and therefore GDPR does. And
Yep.
so all of these questions, rather, none of these questions and concerns have been addressed yet.
Right.
All of this is coming. Let me take you back to something that you said earlier on. You said, I had run 100 projects. I have 30 project managers. Should I let them go? So, AI eliminating project management jobs. Yeah, if you look around the web, you can find a lot of articles about the many ways in which AI will eliminate our jobs. Automation, taking over routine tasks. I really hope so because I don't really need to, crunch those numbers myself. AI can do that. Providing insights, collaborating with humans, even making decisions and overseeing projects. So, Bill, at this time, are you letting any of your 30 project managers go?
No. I'm not letting them go because there's no depth to that to those articles and those things, right? We just talked about that, but I do want. So one of the ones that I see a lot, and I'd love to just talk about if I could. One of the articles I see a lot is from Gardner, okay, and they said, and it was in 2019, so 4 years ago, and 7 years in the future. They say as 80% of project managers' tasks will be eliminated in 2030 as AI takes over, right? So 80% of these tasks will be done by AI. Okay, now they've given themselves 7 years, so maybe there's some there, but what are we talking about in that 80%? They then go and continue to say PMO leaders can begin to use their voices to query PPM software and issue commands rather than using the keyboard and the mouse. Okay, so again, Cortana was a great example of that. Cortana's gone. Hey, Cortana, give me a list in Power BI. Cortana and Power BI were connected together. Hey, Cortana, give me a list of all my red projects. Right? Give me a list of all my projects that are over budget. It's gone. So I don't want to call BS, but I kind of want to call BS a little bit because there's no depth to what they're saying. What's the 80%? How do we know at this time? And when they wrote it in 2019, right? This is a 2019 article. There's no depth to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's critical.
And frankly, in my opinion, whether I type in, hey, give me a list of all the red ones, or whether I say it into a microphone, to me, that's not reducing 80% of the task. To me, even today, in today's tools that do not have these AIs, I can still get a list of all my projects that are red, right? So they're done differently. It's configurable. It's not artificial intelligence that's supporting that, but the tools are there. The features are already available today, right?
100%. And one of the key components of this 2019 article, and I think it's relevant because you're going to see it quoted in a million different books and articles and stuff. What they're also relying on heavily is voice and voice recognition, right? And just think about the complexities we've had with voice, different accents, different languages. we have not nailed voice recognition yet. Have you used Siri at all? Right? We're not there yet. We'll get there, but we're not there yet.
Eventually, yeah, definitely. So let me take you back to the quote that we had there from ChatGPT. And ChatGPT says, I'm good at helping people, but I don't really have the relationships, the intuition, the trust. How do you foresee the balance between AA's capabilities and that irreplaceable human element of project management, especially when it comes to stakeholder management, team dynamics? How do you see that
Yeah,
playing out?
100%. I think there's two components here. The one is, and I alluded to it earlier, the art and science of project management. And when we talk about art, we talk about human relationships, context, right? Which is key and a known issue in AI right now. They can do patterns, they can't do context. We talk about influence without authority, right? If you feel like you could really take the art of out of project management, I mean, it's a lost conversation, right? It's just not going to happen. It's influence without authority. It's all the things that we know that you need from a human side to drive project management.
Mm.
That's
And
why we
we
can't
got a quote
eliminate.
here from Debbie Tien, and she says it will most likely reduce administrative components of our jobs. That I can fully support, right? That I'm 100% in agreement with. If AI does only one thing, that's probably where it's going to start helping us the most. The
Okay,
administrative components of our jobs, so that we don't have to focus on the number crunching, the writing of status reports, but we can work more on the human side of things, the leadership side of things, and the relationship building. Of course, you still have to read the status report before you give it to your customer, please.
right.
Yes.
I,
Right.
I,
What
I
do you
want
think?
I want to challenge it, like, and I want
Okay,
to challenge
go
it
for it.
in a great manner because these are the types of statements that we see in LinkedIn posts, we see in webinars, and then my challenge would be click that down. What are the administrative tasks? And
Yeah.
then I, as a manager of 40 people, 30 people, whatever, well, could I not question those administrative tasks? Let me take an administrative task of your issue and risk log. Okay, project managers need to analyze risk and issues. That's an administrative task, but is it? Because when you think about it, issues and risks are what's impacting the success of your project. So I, as a manager, I want those 30 project managers to be analyzing the risk and the issues, knowing exactly what's coming up, knowing what's exactly going to impact their project. So administrative tasks is too high level. And then when you click down, you can't necessarily click down until we see the software. I'm as excited about AI doing this kind of stuff as what Debbie has called out here. But give me the software, give me the examples, show me the video, and then I'm like, I'm all in. I can't wait for Microsoft to give Copilot for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. It's going to be amazing, but we got to do it for a while.
Why do you think it is that statements like this, the posts on LinkedIn, the articles that talk about this great assistance that we're going to get from AI in the administrative space, why do you think it is that the authors don't take the next step and break it down and really show how it's done? Is it because A, it's so much easier to write a hype article and talk about how great the world is going to be? Or is it B, well, it doesn't exist yet, so I can't really give you an example?
Oh, it's B. It's 100% B. right? Because we've seen articles and we've seen things like they'll write schedules, they'll write status reports, they'll analyze risk and issue logs and create mitigation plans. Okay, show me that. Show me that plan, that work on a video on YouTube, or send it to me and show me that software doing that, and then we'll get excited about it. So it's better to say, look at me, right? I can go on LinkedIn right now and go, AI sucks, and hit post. And imagine all the people that will be all over this, right? Oh, really, Bill? Blah, 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 blah. So it's a more of a look at me. I'm watching the trends. I'm excited about where this is going. And I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I really don't. I'm trying to be balanced. I'm trying to go, give us the software. Let's see what this looks like. Let's all have Copilot, Word, Excel, PowerPoint in our hands for a year. Let's play with it, and then let's write those articles. Right. And so that's where I went. It's really out of the highest level of respect, because there's high level leaders that are driving into this, but it's those same leaders are not clicking down.
We have another quote or question, and quote rather, from Marcelo Alarcon. How good is AI in understanding human emotions? Thinking back to the ChatGPT things, I am not good at all, is what ChatGPT said. Yeah. Totally. How would AI diffuse a conflict situation between team members? Today, it would not. And are people willing to let machines record their emotions? I am not. However, in the communications space, if you allow AI to take on or take a look at the conversations that are happening on your project, you can probably ask AI, give me an emotional map, give me a sentiment map of where are we at? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? Right? Are people happy? Are people unhappy? So those kind of analysis can probably happen, but now comes the ethical question. Should it? Bill, what do you think?
Yeah.
There's three questions in one.
Yeah, 100%. So, and I agree with you. Just let me dive in. So when I was preparing for my first AI interview, and I was really early, I actually got to talk to a big, won't name them, AI company, and they had said exactly what you just said. They said, hey, they'll be able to get the sentiment, they'll get the themes. And I said, okay, so I just want to be clear. You're going to have AI searching every Outlook email, every chat, right? And you're going to then compile all that and then be able to say something like, hey, we're hearing your project's going to go over budget. We're hearing through the emails your project's going to go red. And I'm going, really? Like, okay, but now think about what that would do. And we all know every company records every chat. Every company records every email. We get all that. But when we start having conversations being, between two team members, monitored, and they're monitored to a degree, but not to this level.
You're going to go, whoa.
You're going to go, whoa. Not. Right. Yeah. I'm going to pick up the phone, and I'm not going to email again. So where I think, and again, big fan of AI, where I think it could be diffuse a conflict of situation, you should go, hey, ChatGPT, I got a problem with a couple team members. Can you give me a little bit of help on conflict management or conflict resolution? That is no different than doing a Google search, let's be clear. But AI, ChatGPT could come back and give you some good recommendations. But you could get that on the thousands of Google results as well. Mm-hmm. But that's where I think that could help you.
Let's move on and still stay very close to what we've been talking about so far. Noise. You and I, we read a lot about AI, and we do that to help people so that they can frame it for their own professional lives. But as always, it is very hard to see the forest with all these trees. How can we help our audience here today to be both excited and also skeptical of content creators just trying to put out random information about AI and project management in order to ride the wave. What can we do?
Yeah, so excited. You obviously the first thing to go to is get out there and try the tools. Look at what it's doing. It's amazing, right? Now, we haven't really applied it a lot on project management, but get in there. Go to Google Bard, go to Copilot, go to ChatGPT, get your hands dirty and really understand the endless possibilities that it can bring, right? And so I say get excited about it because we are horse and buggy to car. We are at the point here where it's gonna change the world, and it slowly am change the world, right? We talked earlier about how we are using it all the time, not in project management, but we're using it all the time. We absolutely love it. So very, very excited because we're in a world changing place right now that we should all embrace and get right into it. Scared is because of the hype. Scared is because these articles don't say, but there's a human side of project management, right? So scared because if your executives are reading this and they're going, well, I can get rid of all my PMs, right? Because this article on LinkedIn I just saw says get rid of all my PMs, that's where you should be afraid, right? And so it's these people that buy into this hype and these executives and managers that buy into this hype could actually think that AI is going to eliminate these jobs.
Okay. Now we've explained why both of us think that we have to be careful about what we believe, where this is going. So let's talk about exactly that. Where is it going? Let's talk about the power of AI in project management, the way that we see it, because at this point, we framed AI for what it truly is. It's a technology that can support project managers, but it probably will not replace them. Let's talk about where you see the future, Bill. So what areas, what aspects of project management do you believe that AI can bring the most significant improvements or transformation?
Yeah, it's in the data. It's in the data. I mean, AI is known for patterns. AI is known for crunching data very, very quickly. So I'm saying I'm going to go right back to it's in the project management data, consuming the data, reporting on the data, understanding the data, and looking for trends. Looking for what am I seeing across 100 projects, 200 projects, whatever, right? What am I seeing across that project load? And then what proactive steps can I take to prevent some of that? But we need project, we need Power BI, we need Asana, Jira, Tableau, Smartsheets. We need these tools to get this stuff implemented and then figuring this out. And we need that closed system. I cannot stress how important this closed system, meaning don't send my projects and all my data up to an outside company. And so I think those are the two really key components to this. And until we see this, we don't know. But it will be in data crunching. That's going to be the first easy, low-hanging fruit.
We use both Jira and Monday.com at my company.
Okay, Monday.
It is not a closed system. This is all software as a service, right? So
Right.
literally every single project that we're working on is in the cloud. So how do you expect Jira, Monday.com, Asana, and all the others to change in order to make it a closed system? So are you literally expecting that you would be running Jira yourself on an internal server completely within your firewall? Or do you expect this closed system still to be in the cloud, but shielded somehow?
That's it exactly.
Okay.
So taking like what OpenAI has done, and every company buying their own version of OpenAI, right? It's still in the cloud, but it's my protected cloud. We're not going away from cloud. We're not going away from SaaS. But, in that particular case, it's protected. And your company And obviously there's going to be a pricing point here, but smaller companies can have their own ChatGPT open AI version in a protected cloud.
Hmm.
So
All right.
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. So it's all in the data, the system helping us to get insights from the data. The data is in the cloud. That cloud is protected. It's mine. What is the actual function and feature that I can expect? What
Yeah.
will the AI be able to do now that I have this?
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about analyzing risk and issues, creating patterns, creating dashboards and reports, sending emails, alerting when projects go to red, writing stats reports, writing schedules as a first cut of the schedules, because it now sees that three other projects are roughly the same, and it understands patterns, it understands that, and it's going to go, I'm going to create you your first cut at this. Obviously, you're going to have to adjust it, but it seems similar to these other projects. Let me give you your tasks. Let me give you your schedules. Let me give you even some resources that could potentially be used on these projects. But
Mhm.
it's never going to have the context. You're going to need project managers for context for a long, long time.
When is this happening? Because I want it now.
Of course, we all want it now. We want it now to be able to pilot it and go, this is horse and buggy. This is car, right? This is like, we don't have to have horses anymore. We got a car. This is earth changing, world changing, right? It's not going to happen until the tools allow us and we see it in the tools and we play with it. We play with it as a project manager who he or she is standing in front of their stakeholders, standing in front of their teams, giving them this data. We see it as a PMO leader who's running hundreds plus projects and 30 project managers. And we're like, wow, look what we can do now, right? We're seeing it when the software becomes available, when companies allow us to have this software. But there's no timeline that I know of. There's no roadmap when this stuff will be in place. And what you're going to see is very early chat GPT type functionality within these tools.
Mhm.
But I don't
Um,
think you're going to see closed systems for a while.
I'm not sure how that's. I have to admit, I haven't thought about closed systems at all, so I'm not going to comment on that here. How do you feel about this quote here from Nadia Alvarez Romero? The difference with Google search, is that ChatGPT can give you digested information without the need to move between articles and websites. So you're looking for information, and Google, you have 10 search results. You have to go to these 10 websites. You have to read them. And she says, well, if you use ChatGPT for the same thing, it can give you the digested information. Considering that, ChatGPT's training data ends in September 22, was it? September
Yeah,
21? Something like
yeah.
that, whatever, right? So the data is older that ChatGPT is using. Do we agree with this?
Yes and no. So yes, because it's very quick and very consumable. No, because who provided it? Did a project manager, I'm just going to use that example, with 1 year's experience provide that answer, or did a project manager with 50 years experience provide that answer? Is it a combination of 50 years or 150 years worth of project manager experience in that answer, or is it a combination of 1 year's project manager, right? So there is a yes component, because look at it, just served you up this amazing result, but it's the context behind it, right? It's we've been doing this for 30 years. People have been doing it for 50 years and 100 years and blah blah blah, right? And so it's all about, who was this source from? What is the background and experience, and why should I listen to that?
Hmm. Let me spin a quick tale here, because this is something that very few people talk about. Right now, artificial intelligence is trained on data that is generated by humans. So far, most of the data on the internet until this year was generated by you and I. We write these articles. Now we have these tools like ChatGPT, Bard, and other generative AI large language models that are creating article after article after article. And I've used them to write articles as well. You know, give me the basics of the article and then I enhance it and change things around. So imagine a future where your artificial intelligence gets trained by the output of the artificial intelligence from the past. So you get this feedback loop of AI inputting into AI, outputting from AI. So there is a decrease in value over time. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about that in the AI and project management space. Have you seen anything about this?
No, no, I have not. But imagine how exciting that will get, right? And then
How
if that
bad it will get.
or how bad it would get. I mean, there's two sides to this, right? Again, balanced. I think, wow, when you look at that and that possibility, but you can do that today, right? I did a search the other day. I said, give me Google Bart, give me 10 ways that AI will eliminate project managers, right? I love that, right? And so I got 10 results. Obviously, I asked for 10, it gave me 10. And then I said, okay, great. Now give me the 10. And then it said, one of them said automating tasks, right? And then walk through a very high level. And then I just kept going. And then I said, okay, give me 10 ways or I can be a professional automating tasks. And you just keep feeding it and feeding it. And then eventually it's just like, yeah, this is useless. This is not giving me any data I could actually use. But you're seeing that, and you're seeing people actually do that. So that technology will get there.
Okay.
And it will get better.
Mm-hmm. Now, we framed everything a little bit. Be skeptical, be careful. We talked about the power of AI here. I think the next step that we have to take is help our audience. Ready, set, AI. Let's help our audience get ready for having AI on their projects. From your perspective, what are 1, 2, 3 things that our audience can do today in order to prepare for the inevitable AI that's coming? And how do they do that?
Yeah. So the first thing, and I said it a little bit earlier, but consume. Those are not my 3 things, but I have to stress consume, right? Because you want to not be afraid of it. You want to be just as excited about it as I am, but you want that reality, right? And so you really want to understand is, as a project manager, what does this actually mean? When they say this, let me go try that on my project. Oh, wait, I can't. I don't have a tool. So the first thing is really, consume, right? And get ready for it. Get ready for it coming. When Copilot, most companies are Microsoft, right? So when Word, Excel, and PowerPoint get Copilot, dive into that. Let's figure that out. Let's get that in our hands and figure out how we can use our projects and drive our projects with those 3 top programs. But don't get suckered into the hype. So number 2 would be, don't get suckered into the hype. Really understand what these articles and webinars and stuff are saying, and then ask yourself, click down. How do I click down on that single resource allocation statement? Right. And then as a PMO leader, you've got to be as passionate about this as I am. You've got to understand, how would you run your organization with all your project managers out there widely doing AI and using all these tools and then running their projects that way. So you need to create policies. You need to think about what they can do. You want to think about piloting some projects and just seeing what's working and not working.
Thank you. We're getting to the takeaways of our conversation in just a moment, but I have 2 more comments. Chris Vitalos says, in regards to the feedback loop that I was talking, isn't the issue that AI content feedback loops mitigated by proper governance of the LLM training process? Totally agree with you, Chris, but nobody's talking about it, right? This is something that if you don't talk about it and make people aware that there is a feedback loop, nobody thinks about it, right? That's kind of where I was going with my conversation and with my discussion there earlier on. Yes, it has to be the appropriate governance that you put on the whole training thing, but unless you know about it, unless you talk about it, you won't be aware of it, okay? And then the other one comes from NLU, and I think this is the first takeaway that we can already have here today. AI is only as good as the data inputs. There was an article in New York Times, Washington Post, just within the last 48 hours, talking about the human factories in the Philippines where roughly, I don't forgot the number, 1 or 2 million people are literally sitting there day after day annotating data for us here in the US in order to train our large language models, just give the AI data context, explain to the AI, well, this piece of information here, what is it, right? Oh, this is a cat in this picture right here, so that the AI can then start to recognize and understand what is the data actually about. So the quality of the data is important, but the human effort that is put into making the data actually good, usable data, there are ethical questions behind that, because some of the workers are not getting paid in updating the data and annotating the data. It's a longer discussion here than what we have time for. But takeaway, data must be good.
Yeah, just one quick point on that. And what's really interesting in a project though is the data ever done? Right? So is your risk log ever done until the end of the project? So data is only as good as the data inputs at a particular time. Your issue log's not done. Your schedule's never done until the project's done. So when we think about data inputs, we're talking about grabbing the things that we deal with most: risks, issues, actions, decisions, schedules. And they are all points in time when they're done, when you submit that one status report for the week. So this is a really great point, and it introduces an element of timing that I don't know if we're thinking about with this, right? So all status reports have to be done at the end of Friday. So at Friday, technically the data is done until Monday, and then the data right? And so that's a great point, and it's a great takeaway, really.
Mm-hmm. All right. And since we are already at the takeaways here, let's get to them. Takeaways. Bill, out of this conversation, what would you say are the 2, maybe 3 takeaways for our audience today?
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway is consume, right? Just don't ignore this. Just dive into this as much as, and get excited about it. Get passionate about it, right? And so when this stuff comes to you and comes to your desktop, let's figure this out, right? Because ignoring it would be crazy. But consuming it and understanding and just living it and really kind of diving into it and being passionate about it, you will actually be much smarter than the 10 other project managers around you that don't care about it and will get to it when they can get to it. So my biggest, I'm just going to frame it up at 1, is consume. Go to LinkedIn, go to Google, go to project management groups, consume, but don't get suckered into the hype.
Thank you very much. And my takeaway is usually always the same: data literacy. As a product manager, you need data literacy because, as NLU says, AI and project managers only as good as the data inputs. And if you don't understand data and are data literate, there is very little that you can do as a project manager in order to ensure that the data is good enough for your AI. Bill, thank you. This was a
Thank you.
great conversation. We framed it as a thing that you have to be excited about, yet critical about at the same time.
Yeah. And again, I'm thrilled in where we're going. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled where we're at this particular time in the project management industry. I can't wait. Can't wait to see what happens.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That brings us to the close of our discussion here today. As always, please do visit pm-podcast.com/491 for show notes, transcripts, and PDU information. Very likely you can earn 3/4 of a PDU for listening to or watching this particular episode. Our email address is info@pm-podcast.com. And don't forget, if you want to know more about Bill, it's dowpublishingllc.com. And finally, we have this. AI and project managers, well, the AI predicts the rain, but the project manager brings the umbrella. And with that, thank you very much for being here. Until next time, everybody.
Thank you.